Shabbat Shalom. Huh? Thank you so much. So, starting with announcements like we do, like I do, anyways. Okay, so who noticed the typo on the title of the title slide? Yes, the date. So, yes, Rabbi Felix sent it to me. He said, let me know of any mistakes. And of course, I didn't bother to look at the title slide, and everything else looked fine. So we have our calendar available to you on the credenza in the lobby with all of our wonderful activities. We have yoga, we have Rabbi Felix is starting a new sessions on Talmud and topics, and then he also has his Saturday class at 10 a.m., his Monday class at 1 p.m., Sunday school has started. If you know anybody who's interested, our program is like growing like crazy, and it's so exciting. It's not just for kids, it's for the kids and their parents. We have the gardening group on Sunday. Joseph put on a wonderful concert last Sunday afternoon, and I know November something, you have something out at the Unitarian Church, the dueling piano.
I think that's
October 12th. Okay,
Yeah.
It's coming up.
a Saturday.
It's a Saturday, so it must be the 14th.
The 14th.
And yeah. So, and on October 27th, we're going to have an all-congregation Shabbat dinner. This is a multi-generational event. We're encouraging our families to come and our older generation to come. And we'd just love to see you all there. It's free. It's a dinner. There'll be singing. There'll be, yeah, and it'll all be in the family room. And on October 22nd, friends of mine and excellent musicians are coming. They play traditional American music, and you will not be disappointed. They're so entertaining, so I encourage you to come to that. And here we are. Our readers tonight are going to be Lonnie Fleischer, Bob Citron, Susie Citron, Dan Schechter, and me. And our candle lighters will be Judy Freund and Robert Chestnut. Roy Chestnut, did I get that right? Yes, sorry. I was looking for my pen and I didn't have it. And so, here we go. Take a moment, bring yourself into the room, close your eyes, make sure your phones are off. Take a deep breath, and we begin. Where the world is dark with illness, let us kindle the light of healing. Where the world is bleak with suffering, let us kindle the light of caring. Where the world is dimmed by lies, let us kindle the light of truth. May the honor of lighting this flame inspire us to acts of goodness that illumine all the world. May the mitzvah of kindling these Shabbat candles remind us to sanctify life with the power of light. Did it go out?
Baruch
Shabbat Shalom. We gather on this Sabbath as a community of believers. We believe that Judaism is the entire experience of the Jewish people. We believe in the value of celebrating Jewish culture and identity. We believe that all those who choose to celebrate with us are part of our community. We believe that being together strengthens and enhances our humanistic Jewish experience. May this Sabbath be a time of peace and rejuvenation. This is a time of transition. We move from our everyday week to the experience of Shabbat. We turn from the concerns of the outside world and become quiet and peaceful. We, at this moment, in this time, create a community of humanistic Jewish believers. Let us pause and take note as we begin the journey of this Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Ohavei HaShalom, Shomerei Shalom. Shalom Aleichem, Rodafei HaShalom, Shalom Aleichem. Boachem b'shalom, Ohavei HaShalom, Zerchem l'shalom. Biyom zeh leyamim habayim, Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Ohavei HaShalom, Shomerei Shalom. Shalom Aleichem, Rodafei HaShalom, Shalom Aleichem.
Shabbat Shalom. When our ancestors pondered the marvels of nature, they felt moved to praise. They would extol the gods to whom they ascribed responsibility for their creation. Even today, there are those who contend that this is the essence of spirituality. Humanists understand it differently. Our spirituality is naturalistic. We celebrate the human spirit. We rejoice in the drama of life on our planet. We stand in awe before the magnificence of the universe. We recognize that appreciating these things is part of what it means to be human. To deny these feelings would be tantamount to rejecting our humanity. There are certainly good scientific explanations for why we experience amazement at the sight of a mountain peak, a sunset, or a newborn child. Yet knowing why we feel this way need not detract one bit from our sense of wonder. So let us continue to burst out in songs, praising the joys of life or the beauty of nature, even as we remain fully aware that our praises reach only our own ears.
There's a place with answers we are seeking. There's a place to find our light of hope. Where's the strength
long to be here for a purpose, even though, despite much self-deception, none is evident. The significance of our lives and our fragile planet is determined only by our own wisdom and courage. We are the custodians of life's meaning. We long for a parent to care for us, to forgive us our errors, to save us from our childish mistakes. But knowledge is better than ignorance. Better by far to embrace the hard truth than a reassuring faith. Modern science has been a voyage into the unknown with a lesson in humility waiting at every stop. Our common sense intuitions can be mistaken. Our preferences do not count. We do not live in a privileged reference frame. If we crave some cosmic purpose, then let us find a worthy goal.
וכשאני לעצמי מה אני, ואם לא עכשיו, מתי, מתי. בכל דור ודור חייב אדם לראות את עצמו כאילו הוא יצא ממצרים. אם אין אני לי מי לי, וכשאני לעצמי מה אני, ואם לא עכשיו, מתי, מתי. ואם לא עכשיו, מתי, מתי.
Reason is a very powerful faculty. Properly applied, it illuminates a path to understanding our universe and ourselves. But in a few centuries, humanity has uncovered a reality that far exceeds our imagination. Still, there remain uncountable mysteries that we have yet to solve. Many of these lay in the core of our humanity. What is consciousness? What is love? Though we may discover the biological bases for our inner lives, we will never experience ourselves as a mere collection of mechanical processes. Would knowing the chemicals trigger love cause us to feel it any less deeply? Reason is the road to knowledge. Understanding our inner lives and experiences help us to understand what really matters. Shabbat Shalom.
Rabbi Hillel said, Do not separate yourself from the community. In Hillel's day and for many centuries that followed, separating from a community meant leaving everyone behind. It meant going it alone, completely bereft of connections. It meant abandoning friends and losing family. His adage was a real warning. Beyond the community, you will find an unfriendly, frightening world. Modern societies define community in a very different way. Today, we can choose to belong to one community or another on the basis of our interests and personal needs. Not only do the justifications for belonging differ, so do the means. The modern communications revolution allows us to join communities that encompass the entire planet. As we learned from the pandemic, we can be part of those communities without even getting out of our pajamas. It reminded us how much we need community. So let us say, do not separate yourself from the possibility of exploring what it means to be human, to be Jewish, to take responsibility for your life and for the world. Do not separate yourself from the possibility of learning and growing in the company of others, of reaching out to each other in times of joy and sorrow, of working as a collective to better the world. Let us say, do not separate yourself from these possibilities, for while your light, hope, and strength are in you, they are in us too.
אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה אז יבואו כבר כולם. אמרו את זה קודם, לפניי זה לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם. אני ואתה ננסה מהחלה. יהיה לנו רע, אין דבר, זה לא נורא. אמרו את זה קודם, לפניי זה לא משנה. אני ואתה נשנה את העולם.
Rita? Sorry. If there is to be peace in the world, if there is to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. There must, if there is to be peace in the cities, if there is to be peace between neighbors,
There must be peace in the home.
and if there is to be peace in the home,
There must be peace in the heart. Na'aseh shalom, shalom ba'olam. Na'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam ve'imru shalom. Na'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam ve'imru shalom. Na'aseh shalom, shalom ba'olam. Na'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam ve'imru shalom.
in this community where we find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts toward all those who need our love and support, those who are ill, those who suffer pain of the body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. And tonight, our well wishes go out to Nitzan Bengal, Rabbi Peter Schweitzer, Jim Walker, and anybody you're thinking of. Karen? Colleen Mills. Tom? Andrea Friedman. Jennifer Justice. John William. Thank you. May all those suffer know that they are not alone, that we are there. May they be healed quickly. May they experience the refuah shlema, a complete recovery, the renewal of their bodies, and the renewal of their spirits.
May the source of strength that dwells so deep within us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Shalom. Makom HaKoach B'Tofenu, Mekorot HaBracha B'Evrotenu. May those in need of healing know refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Shalom.
At times of searching, we may look through books for the perfect words to give form to our feelings, make the thing complete, set the matter at rest. But in hours of searching, each piece lies rejected, too precise, too difficult, too harsh, not relevant, implying what we do not wish. But look into the gray, wide sky, and the thoughts will come like this. Remember me when I loved you most, and you loved me most. Remember me when I was my bravest, and when I did you right. Then let that be our secret bond, and just once, let us rise in the morning and enjoy the light, and know that that bird in the mist is returning to the sun. Oops, uh-oh. It's an important paper. Okay. Our thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those, and those of every people and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We recall now our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. On this evening, we remember the yahrzeits of Herman Alumit, Molly Avery, Dale Boeski, Sidney Bowman, William W. Brown, Ed Shalom, Gertrude Ernst, Mary Feldman, Alan Freund, Lillian Gilman, Archie Green, Jerry Hooker, Deborah Hopkins, Phyllis Keller, Cindy Klein, Lily Paul Klein, Audrey Crone, Victor Kuffler, Sam Lieberman, Goad Medier, Harold Mettler, William Morris, Charlotte Nelson, Fred Nolish, Nathan Pritz, Sam Remnick, Audrey Robinson Klein, Alan Edward Schechter, David Silverstein, Ann Seifer, Donald Sugarman, Robert Voigt, Lillian Warren, Kurt Weinberg, Jamie Winshaw, and John Zimmer. It was a longer list than usual because of the high holidays. We didn't have those yard sites honored, so they were all in tonight's reading. Yehi zichram livracha, may memories of them provide a blessing. So, yes, if there's somebody you're thinking of, I'm sorry. Barbara Gross. Okay. Charles Vine. Yes. Barry Flower. Miriam Gross. Diane Feinstein, I'd add. So if you can comfortably stand up, I ask you to do so for the reading of our humanistic Kaddish. Nit Gadal v'nit Gadash Baruch Adam. Let us dignify and ennoble all people in the spirit of our shared humanity. Let us acclaim the preciousness of life. Let us show gratitude for life by approaching it with reverence. Let us embrace the whole world, even as we wrestle with its parts. Let us each in our own way take up our share in serving the world and seeking truth. May our commitment to life help us to strengthen healing of spirit and peace of mind. May justice and peace permeate and comfort the house of Israel and all those who dwell on earth. And let us say, Ken Yehi, may it be so.
Melanie, where is Jeffrey? He's in Philadelphia?
No. Our Rabbi Jeff Thalik is at the fundraiser dinner for Freedom House tonight. Yes. And Anne Marie is also there, and Arthur, so yes. So it's the Melanie David Joseph show tonight, and we're very happy that you're here. So an American businessman was at the pier of a small coastal Mexican village when a small boat with just one fisherman docked. Inside the small boat were several large yellowfin tuna. The American complimented the fisherman on the quality of his fish and asked how long it took to catch them. The fisherman replied that it only took a little while. The American then asked why he didn't stay out longer and catch more fish. The fisherman said he had enough to support his family's needs. The American then asked, but what do you do with the rest of your time? The fisherman said, I sleep late, fish a little, play with my children, take siesta with my wife, stroll in the village each evening where I sip wine and play guitar with my friends. I have a full and busy life, senor. The American scoffed. Well, I am a Wharton MBA, and I could help you. You should spend more time fishing and with the proceeds, you could buy a bigger boat. And with proceeds from the bigger boat, you could buy several boats. Eventually, you would have a fleet of fishing boats. Instead of selling your catch to a middleman, you could sell directly to the processor. Eventually, you'd open your own cannery. You would control the product, the processing, and the distribution. You would need to leave this small coastal fishing village and move to Mexico City, then LA, and eventually New York City, where you'll run your expanding enterprise. The fisherman asked, but how long will this all take? Well, to which the American replied, 15 or 20 years. Well, but what then? The American laughed and said, well, that's the best part. When the time is right, you would announce an IPO and sell your company's stock to the public and become very rich. You would make millions, and then what? The American said, then you would retire, move to a small coastal fishing village where you could sleep late, fish a little, play with your kids, take siesta with your wife, stroll to the village in the evenings where you could sip wine and play your guitar with your friends. So this was the perfect quip to begin this look at blue zones. When you Google secret to live a long and healthy life, you get recommendations from the NIH, WebMD, Johns Hopkins, lists of foods to live longer, suggestions of where you should live, how you should live, what you should eat, 7 secrets, 9 secrets, 12 secrets, surprising secrets. Then the articles that tell you what to stop doing, master classes, books, recipes, and pills. Well, I heard Dan Buettner speak on this, most likely on NPR, several years ago, and I was really intrigued. In fact, I keep a little journal where I have topics for like 10-minute, 20-minute sermons, you know, and I have each page in the journal has a letter, and so my goal is to fill each letter with a couple of ideas to write. So this one was under B. And I thought, this is the time to do it, especially since he's now got this Netflix little mini-series. So this was the perfect time. And this is what I learned in a nutshell. But really, my real question after reading Dan's book and watching the Netflix series was, why do we have to study and master living longer and healthier lives when people in much poorer countries are just doing it? So, who is Dan Buettner? He's an American National Geographic Fellow and New York Times best-selling author. He's an explorer, an educator, author, producer, storyteller, and public speaker. And what are blue zones? Well, demographers Johnny Pess and Michel Poulain identified areas first in Sardinia, Italy, which had the highest concentration of centenarians. In each of these areas, they put a blue dot. In one area, the blue dots were so concentrated that they created a blue zone. Blue zone areas are places with the highest healthy life expectancy, where people reach their 90s with low rates of chronic disease and where there is a high probability of reaching 100. Other blue zones in the world were identified in Okinawa, Japan, Ikaria, Greece, Nicoya, Costa Rica, and Loma Linda, California. So, was Dan and the team of demographers able to find the secret to a long and healthy life? And be clear, all of this is about living a long and healthy life. No one wants to live a life prolonged while being unhealthy or tortured or hooked to machines or whatever. This is quality of life too. In each of these blue zones, the diet was slightly different based on what foods were available and native to their area. The physical activities were slightly different based on the economy, because mostly it involved work. But what was the same was staying active, engaged, and connected till the very end, actually. For instance, this is Okinawa, Japan. What they do is they embrace an ikigai, which is a purpose in life. They continue working, volunteering, mentoring. In other words, they stay engaged with the community and their family. They rely primarily on a plant-based diet. Gardening is a daily source of activity, providing a range of motion and reduction of stress. They maintain a moai, which is a social network that lends financial and emotional support in times of need. They always know that there's someone there that has their back. They stay active. They tend not to have chairs in their home. As you can see, they sit on the floor on tatami mats, which require getting up and down off the ground multiple times a day, building lower body strength and balance. They laugh, be happy, don't get angry, keep younger people in their company well into their old age. And this is a moai. This is a group of people who hang out together socially and also are emotional and financial support for each other. Then we go to Sardinia, Italy. It's not all of Sardinia, but only certain regions that have these high concentration of centenarians. At first, Dan and his team went there to investigate a rare genetic marker that is linked to exceptionally long lives. This region of Sardinia is quite isolated, meaning that the genetic pool is undiluted. The end result is that there are nearly 10 times more centenarians per capita than in the US. Isolation also results in the maintaining of a very traditional lifestyle. They eat primarily a plant-based diet again, with a little meat and carbs, but the carbs are a whole grain, handmade breads and pastas. They drink goat's milk more than cow's milk, a glass or two of red wine daily. First, family first. Everyone is cared for, from infants to the oldest of them. Elders are celebrated. Grandparents and great-grandparents have a purpose. They provide love, childcare, financial help, wisdom, and motivation to continue traditions. Their daily life requires walking 5 miles a day or more. They're mostly shepherds, and they laugh with friends. I'm going to keep that there for a minute. Ikaria, Greece. Ikaria is one of 227 islands in Greece. It's another remote and isolated locale. But actually what they found in Ikaria is that most centenarians were actually in the mountainous region in the middle of the island. They have movement in their daily lives by gardening, yard work, walking to their neighbor's house. The Mediterranean-style diet, which we've all heard about, lots of fruit and veggies, whole grains, beans, potatoes, a little meat, and lots of olive oil and local honey. Again, they drink goat's milk. Goat's milk and sheep's milk is actually better digested by your body. Other scientists have found also. They drink herbal tea. Their preference is rosemary, sage, and oregano. And yes, they drink wine too, preferably locally made with no preservatives. They take a daily nap or mid-afternoon break. Many cultures do this. The stores close, the people go home, or rest where they are. Make family and friends a priority. So here I want you to meet Stamatis Moraitis. He was a 1943 war veteran. He came to the United States for treatment of a combat mangled arm. He'd survived a gunshot wound, escaped to Turkey, and eventually talked his way onto the Queen Elizabeth to cross the Atlantic. After living and working in New York, marrying a Greek-American woman, raising a family, and moving to Florida, he found then 1976, I believe, that he was getting short of breath and he could no longer climb the stairs. He was diagnosed with lung cancer and given 6 to 9 months to live. He was in his mid-60s. Instead of staying in the US and receiving an aggressive cancer treatment, he decided to return to Ikaria and live out his few months, and he would be buried in his homeland, which would also be much cheaper than a burial in the United States, which would leave more for his kids. Long story short, 35 years later, in 2012, Dan Buettner met Stamatis in Ikaria. Stamatis was 97 years old and cancer-free. When Dan asked him what he attributed his still being alive to, he answered, "I guess I forgot to die." He did die shortly after that, but he was still cancer-free after returning to his homeland and returning to that lifestyle and food style. From this community, we also learn the value of the nap. Taking a 30-minute nap at least 5 times a week can lower stress hormones and reduce the risk of heart attack. Dan then found similarities in Nicoya, Costa Rica, another remote community, and in Loma Linda, California, among a community of Seventh-day Adventists, which is not geographically remote, but a close community nonetheless. Again, it's the lifestyle and diet that make the difference. The unfortunate truth is that the concentration of centenarians in those blue zones is diminishing. As fast foods and processed foods are becoming more available, the younger generations are not maintaining not maintaining the lifestyle of those who are currently centenarians. There are fewer and fewer 100-year-olds. This leads to one more study here, that of Singapore, which Dan Buettner calls Blue Zone 2.0. Singapore was only founded 58 years ago in 1965. It is a quarter the size of Rhode Island and 6 million inhabitants. It went from being a large fishing village to an urban metropolis with high-rises and shopping malls. Its residents are highly educated, a multi-ethnic blend of Chinese, Malay, and Indian, so you don't have that same isolated gene pool. Singapore ranks among the world's healthiest, happiest, and longest-lived places on the planet. In 1960, life expectancy was 65. Now it's 85. Singapore was not a remote, isolated place like the others. It is a bustling international crossroads of commerce and culture. Singapore has a health promotion board who is responsible for preventive health care. Imagine that. For instance, they worked with soda companies to put a limit on the amount of sugar that they can put in their product. US has no such limit. They worked with restaurants to offer healthier choice options and label them as such. And they know that brown rice is richer in nutrients than white rice, so guess what? The government subsidizes the growing of brown rice. In every neighborhood, there's an outdoor workout space, free and open to the public. Walking is part of life, and Singapore has made it that way. It's a pedestrian-friendly society. The government is heavy-handed with strict prohibition of guns and drugs. But through their intentionality, they have created this healthy lifestyle for their citizens. They also have a grant. They give a certain grant to families who are buying flats that are either living near or with their relatives. So they can get a $30,000 grant if they buy a flat so that they are going to live with their relatives, or they get $20,000 if they'll live near their relatives. That way, creating that community, that family support system. So, where in the first identified blue zones, longevity was a function of the traditional lifestyle, Blue Zone 2.0 in Singapore is government-led. And why does it work? Because the citizens of Singapore trust their government to have their best interest at hand. Interesting. So one person interviewed, she said, yes, they told us to wear masks, we wore masks. Yes, they told us to get vaccinated, we got vaccinated. We trust them. Dan Buettner and his team took all of this research and found 9 commonalities. Move naturally, live with purpose, keep working, mentor younger family members or young people in your field, volunteer, contribute to the community, downshift, take a nap. Okinawans take a few moments each day to remember their ancestors, Icarians take a nap, and Sardinians do happy hour. The 80% rule, which is followed by the Okinawans, you eat until you are only 80% full. The plant slant, eat more veg and legumes and less meat. Moderate wine drinking. Belong. Dan says that faith-based community and attending services regularly, and I would just adjust that to say getting together with like-minded people on a regular basis. Loved ones first, aging parents and grandparents living nearby or in the home, and the right tribe, social circles like the Okinawan Moais, who are committed to each other for life. There definitely have been skeptics, people questioning whether these people just said that they were as old as they were, but Dan and his team did check. They went to birth records, they cross-referenced with baptismal records to verify dates of birth and ages. The ensuring of this reliability of data was the first criterion for an area to be certified as a blue zone. So, then what? Well, Dan Buettner gathered a committee and wanted to see if he could create a blue zone somewhere in the United States, with the hopes that if it worked, more would follow. So they looked around the country and they found a little town in Minnesota where people were dying earlier than other places in the country, and they had chronic obesity and other heart disease and lots of smoking and cancer. This was Albert Lee, Minnesota. Population was 20,000. Large enough to make a good study and small enough to be able to keep track of data. The hope was that average length of life would be 2 years longer. It took some convincing, but as soon as a couple of pillars of the community, so picture this, they invited all these members of the community into a big room, and here's Dan standing there saying, we can increase your longevity of life, we can decrease your medical expenses, we can do all this, here's what our plan is, here's the things that we have to do. And they're like, yeah, right. Except then one prominent businessman who happened to be an insurance salesman in the community stood up and said, I'm in. And then another prominent figure in the community joined him, and then pretty soon everybody was on board. And the plan included making the town more walkable. Each neighborhood had a clear walking path to the downtown area, which meant that they went in, they got money, they got grants, and bulldozed areas to open it up and put sidewalks in. Local restaurants and grocery stores were to increase their healthier options. Community garden space was increased. An incremental plan for tobacco cessation was put in place. Walking groups like this, like those Japanese moai, were created. And through these walking groups, they didn't tell them that they had to be lifelong friends or anything. That just says, you're a group, you're going to get together and, motivate each other to walk. And look at this. The United States spends more on health care than other countries around the world. Our life expectancy, so here's our life. So we were kind of at a peak here in 2014. Now it's going down again. And this is what tells you how much we're spending. So here in 2018, we're getting a decrease in life expectancy. And this is before the pandemic even, right? So we're not even considering pandemic here. We're spending $10,000 per person, right? So if you just look at Canada, our neighbor, they spend half as much per person, and their life expectancy is over 82. And Ireland and France, Japan, right? So that's how we measure up. I thought that was pretty interesting. So to be clear, you don't have to jump out of a plane at the age of 104, like this woman did, to declare that you have lived a long and healthy and vibrant life. You have a good start. By being part of this community, I remember Suzanne Paul's welcome during the holiday service, where she numbered the benefits of being a member of our congregation, and being a member of this community was one of the 6 that she named. I've always wondered about the rationale of hiring people to do yard work and housework and then paying for a gym membership to get exercise. The exercise can already be built into your daily life. Consider the cultures in the blue zones, toiling in the home and the garden and walking here and there. These all count as keeping active. So maybe the next time you jump in the car to take a letter to the mailbox a few blocks away, you'll think about it and walk. Next time you make your dinner plate, you might think about filling more than half of your plate with veg. Keep dancing, keep laughing, keep moving, and naturally, if you feel the urge, take a nap. Much in keeping with what Dan Buettner learned in his project, Jimmy Carter, currently in hospice at the age of 99, attributes his long life to a sense of purpose, community, strong family ties, faith, and regular exercise. Remember, your friends are the family you choose also, so those ties are just as important as, and sometimes more important than the family you were born into. In the end, you do you. Betty White, at age 99, said that the secret to her long and healthy life was take some wheatgrass, soy paste, and carob, toss them in the garbage, and cook yourself a big-ass piece of pork. Robert Wadlinger, a psychiatrist at Massachusetts General Hospital and professor of psychiatry at Harvard Medical School, says, quote, taking care of your body is important, but tending to your relationships is a form of self-care too. I, too, believe that these are the most important factors. Community, sense of purpose, and natural movement will increase your health and longevity. And I will add joy and laughter. So thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you to David Weeks for streaming and Joseph for our wonderful music and Anne-Marie for being the glue that keeps this place together. Even though she's not here tonight, she did set up our oneg, which I hope you will stay and enjoy.
Peace be with you wherever you go. Peace be with you whatever you do. Peace be with you till we meet again. Peace be with you, my friend. Love be with you wherever you go. Love be with you. Shalom, shalom, shalom aleichem, shalom, shalom, shalom aleichem, shalom, shalom, shalom aleichem, shalom. Yay.